Hello, fellow Stampede members. My name is Jasmine, and I have been attending Stampede University for roughly a year and a half. I'm also dual enrolled at Harvard University, but that's not what's important right now. What's important is the groundbreaking news that came out from Professor Kelly Stamps last week, that she is leaving Boston. Wow. I honestly thought that this wouldn't be happening for a while, because if you remember in one of her I moved to Boston apartment hunting videos after she found the one that she was going to live in, she talked about how she was going to have a 2-year lease. So here I am at home thinking, oh, that's great, a 2-year lease. Maybe one day in the future I'll come back to Boston once things get calmed down with the coronavirus and I start up school again. Maybe one day I will just be out and about walking, she'll be out and about walking, we'll pass, and I will keep my cool. I'm not going to freak out, but then I'll be able to tell her how much I love her as a content creator that just puts out stuff that makes me honestly feel fantastic. But apparently that is not something that will be able to happen because she is leaving Boston. She also already explicitly said that she's going to be leaving Boston in another video 2 weeks ago. She just slid it in there.
So I mentioned that I work Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and that I upload a video on Tuesday. I wish every month would go so perfectly, but it doesn't always. This month I will be moving, so the next couple of weeks I will be busy selling my few pieces of furniture.
And here I am thinking, no, well, where are you moving to next? But she follows that up with she's not going to be telling us the new city and state where she is going to be living.
And even though I'm telling you that I'm moving, I'm not really planning on making like a I moved video, because I don't think 500,000 people moving forward, beyond that, need to know my exact city anymore.
And I thought, yes, that is a smart decision. And I completely respect that. So now she's moving to some unknown location. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, she's already lived in LA. She's already lived in New York. She's lived in Boston. What's next? How about the South? That seems like the next most logical geographical location for her to choose. And what do you know?
Hello everybody, this is Kelly Stamps and I'm currently editing the video you are watching. I am now thriving somewhere in the United States. You will never know. XOXO, Gossip Girl. I'm somewhere perhaps in the Bible Chanel belt, the Bible Chanel studded belt region of the United States.
Based on the comments of that I'm leaving Boston video, many people think that she's in Texas, even though she showed literally nothing of the city that she's moving in. She just showed the walls, basic white walls of the new place that she's living, and people are already saying it's Texas. She's moved to Texas. So we'll see. Hopefully she'll film other videos of her out enjoying the new place that she's living. But I also don't want people to try and treat it like a mystery game thing where they try and figure out where she is based on like Google images or something, and then they leak where she's living. That wouldn't be right. So I hope that doesn't happen, but I would like to see more of the location where she's living and what it is that she does to enjoy it. In her I'm leaving Boston video, she gives a couple of pros and cons of living in Boston, but I would say 3/4 of that video were all of the cons of Boston because of the subtle racism, but it's still racism. Whether it's explicit or subtle, racism is still racism. But she's talking about the subtle type of racism that she has experienced in Boston. She also talks about a date that she went on where she's out in like Boston Commons with this boy. She tells him that she likes K-pop. And he goes, oh, really? That's so cool. And she says, yeah, I even learned some of the dances. Would you like to see one? And he says, yeah, sure. If I was so lucky as to have a one-on-one solo performance like just for me from Kelly Stamps, I would be ascended. I am practically in heaven, basically, at that point. So he says yes, and she starts performing, and then he starts getting this awkward air about him, and he says, "Stop, stop, stop." And she goes, "Why?" And he said, "I don't want people to think that I'm paying for you." Excuse you? Well, your implicit biases are showing. So that was an experience that she had, and it's one that I feel sorry that that had to happen, but at the same time, he wasn't worth her time, if that's the kinds of thoughts that he's having when dating a woman of color. And then she also started talking about her experience as a woman of color dating men of color, but also men not of color, white people, white men. So that was an interesting little detour that her video took that I really appreciated being able to hear. Going back to those implicit biases, they exist in everyone. They exist in me, they exist in you, and that's just a byproduct of living in a society where you're going to be getting all of these different outside stimuli. So it's not something that is necessarily bad unless you are acting on those implicit biases, and then it becomes prejudice. Anyway, she even talks about how racism exists everywhere, which it does, but she did say that at least in the South, you know where you're not welcome. And I thought, like, because I'm Black, she's Black, it's really frustrating that that's something that we have to experience or even just think about when it comes to where we live and where we decide to set up our life, our home. But at the same time, I thought, that is true. You know when someone is not your friend when you're in the South. But in the North, some people, and this is what she started talking about, some people have this fake wokeness, this fake acceptance. So those were some of the things that she talked about. And in the last roughly 3 minutes of the video, she talked about the things that she does like about Boston. The fact that it has fantastic walkability, and I definitely agree with that, because when I was in Boston for school, I could easily walk to where it is that I needed to, or I could take the T, because that was another thing that's great about Boston. And then she also talks about if you don't have a car, that's a very good financial decision for Boston, which as a college student, that's also another nice thing, being able to know that without a car, you will be able to get around and enjoy the city. She also talked about the amazing architecture and the fact that it actually has seasons, whereas here in Ohio, it's just cold, hot, pick a side. And that's the way it is for the entire year. So I definitely agree with all of her pros about Boston. It's a very great city. I really enjoyed being there for the 3 years that I was there before having to come home because of the coronavirus. And I just hope that she's doing well wherever it is that she is, because I enjoy seeing her happy. She's someone who radiates joy, and I love being able to see that. On Instagram, I've been following her story to see the new move-in process, her setting up her life again, which I'm sure is very easy because she is a minimalist, so there's not much to move. But it also just reminds me of the fact that I've moved 7 times. So seeing another person go through this process of taking up their life, putting it back down again, it's something I can certainly relate to. And it's just so cute. It's so wholesome. Like when she has all of her boxes and I'm guessing her mattress out, and she's out there in the middle of her room performing K-pop dances. I'm thinking, oh, that's so cute. So yeah, those are my thoughts as a member of Stampede University, talking about how I felt watching her new I'm Leaving Boston video. And I'm just happy to see her enjoying life wherever that may be. If it's not Boston, that's perfectly fine. If it's somewhere in the Bible Belt, as she called it, all I can ask for is that she is happy, safe, and enjoying her life, which is what I am trying to do with my life. And I hope it's what you are trying to do with your own life. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.